Hey, it's Travis. Too many camp directors run just on gut feel. Our free Resilient Camp Blueprint Diagnostic is your dashboard for resilience. Take it today at camp.mba/Travis. Again, that's camp.mba/Travis.
This is CampHacker. Come find our show notes and our blog for camp directors and leaders at camphacker.tv.
Good day, and welcome to our podcast. This is CampHacker, episode 69, recorded on the 23rd of April, 2014. Today's topic is wowing your parents with your final communications. If you'd like easy, automatic, and free updates of this podcast, you can subscribe in iTunes or use the free Stitcher app. This week's CampHacker podcast is sponsored in part by camp pros like you who support us on Patreon. If you've got even one good idea from the show and would like to show your support, you can do so for as little as $1 per episode. We've got some great rewards too, just like you were subscribing to a Kickstarter campaign. Please go to patreon.com/camphacker. And by the Camp Owners and Directors Association. You provide quality camp experiences for children, helping them grow and gain independence. We help you achieve your vision. Check us out at campownersanddirectors.com. We hope you enjoy the CampHacker Show. Hello, Camp Pros, and welcome to the CampHacker Podcast. My name is Travis Allison. I run a blog about running a great summer camp at camphacker.tv.
And my name is Joe Richards. I'm the Executive Director at Pierce Williams Christian Center, which is located in Fingal, Ontario, sort of halfway between Detroit and Toronto.
My name is Mark Cooper. I'm the full-time camp director at Camp Tamarack, located up in Bracebridge, Ontario.
Mark, welcome back. It's great to have you here again.
Thanks, Travis. Good to be back.
It's awesome. So for those of you who want to hear Mark's words of wisdom or get inspired by Mark's words today, I hope you go check out our previous episode from Mark. We'll put a link in the show notes for how to get to that episode there. And so, Mark, I'm excited to have you back because not only are you embarking on summer camp, you're also taking on another big project right now.
Yeah, I am. I just finished my first book called Forgettable to Unforgettable: How to Become an Extraordinary Leader in 7 Weeks. It's great for camp people, great for business. It's really a great tool for people who want to train and be, appreciation for their staff, and lots of good tidbits and stuff in it.
Right on. And what inspired you to sit down and write a book this winter?
It's funny because people always say that, don't you have enough to do? And it was another side project. You know what? It was something I always wanted to give back, wanted to share. I've, gone to so many different conferences, and I'm just fascinated with leadership and customer service. So, studying all the different companies from Four Seasons to Walmart and all those kind of companies, and had all these different ideas. And I said, when I put them into a book and share them, and I started a company called Wowmentum. And started putting stuff out there and just looking to start that up on the side when camp isn't running. Right.
Yeah. And I also love your other side project, Mark. Mark, for those of you who didn't watch our last episode with him, Mark's an amazing artist as well.
Yes. Again, if there's not enough hours in the day, so I also do painting. I love creative thing. It's great to have an outlet and stuff. Yeah. So do lots of painting. I have a couple of different exhibits coming up. I'm doing actually a cool live painting thing coming up next week in Toronto called Art Battle, which is they post 6 different artists together in a live painting competition. So it's fun.
That's amazing. Well, Mark, it's so great to have you here today, and thank you for coming back to CampHacker.
Awesome, my pleasure.
Right on. So today we're going to be talking about how we can continue reaching parents in the best possible way. We're calling it Wow Your Camp Parents with Your Last Minute Communications. We're recording this in the spring of 2014, and everybody's getting ready to move to camp. And there's a couple of more opportunities for last-minute communications with your current families. And I think it's a great chance for you to set them up for an amazing summer and to make them feel confident in your professionalism as a team, make them feel confident in your staff, and the last chance to really wow them and make them feel great about their choices this summer. Mark, is there something that you do at Tamarack that is your last communication with them or two that you found works really well?
Yeah. First of all, when we do the communication, I always think it's for us, it's breaking it down also. It's not one general communication, because we have we used to do one full communication, and we found that we were getting certain phone calls still from parents and stuff, from first-time parents or returning parents or CIT parents. So we kind of break it up, categorize, and really find that niche when we're almost in marketing, when we're marketing to the parents again. Still so niche, doing it niche style. So we send out big fans of some of the surveys for the first-time parents. What are you looking forward to? What is your son or daughter looking forward to? What are your, apprehensions? A big thing that we like doing is, as we're preparing for staff training, is sending it out to our parents and ask for their feedback on, give us the 3 things that you would want us to train our staff on. And then we share those notes and stuff during staff training. And it's really interesting when we get the feedback from first-time parents versus returning parents. It's totally different, the responses. And I think parents like that, to know that they're making a difference and they're actually being able to talk to the counselors, whether it's indirectly or directly,
So I like that it's not one-way communication. You're really engaging them and getting them to communicate their interests, desires, hopes for the summer back to you.
Yeah, I think that's key. They, people that, rather than just being talked to, it's constantly back. And not everyone's going to fill out the forms. Obviously, that's not everyone does. And sometimes our response rate is way better. But even a few of them, it's really valuable. They feel like they're part of it. That's something what we started to do. And that was for training, but then we also did one about what are your bigger concerns, what are your kids most excited about, and then. What we do, we also forward that along to some of our staff and say, hey, there's a huge, category of new campers, or all these returning kids are super excited for, water skiing again. And let's talk about what were their highlights from last summer, like all those kind of things we do with the parents.
Yep.
So it's been really solid.
That's awesome.
I think it's really key to niche it, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to make it to a specific message to a specific group.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah, for sure.
And do you have a way of reinforcing with those parents that you do share the messages with your staff?
That's a great question. We talked about sending out almost like we haven't done it yet, but we are in discussion now. Like, hey, these are based on your feedback. Here's some of the sessions that we've come up with for staff training based on that. We've taken the material, but we haven't shared it back. So I think that's probably a good point that we should probably maybe consider doing this year.
Because I think it'd be really powerful as a parent to see. So even if you put up a whiteboard in wherever you do your training, and the whiteboard says, parents' biggest hope for the summer are these list of things, and show parents, post a picture of that to parents, even send it out in an email. Just so that they can get some, or reward those parents that actually did fill in the survey and send it to that smaller group of reinforce that. That'd be kind of neat.
Yeah, for sure. I like that.
Yeah. Joe, what for you? What's your final communications with parents look like at Pierce Williams?
Our final communication with parents is something that we feel that we can always improve upon. Right now, it's essentially we have a parent package that we send out, which is similar to what most camps do, and then we're in touch with the parents over email the week before they come, just to remind them. We really, I'm not sure that other camps deal with this issue, but sometimes parents forget when drop-off day is, which is always awkward.
Yeah,
and so
I think every camp does deal with that.
Yeah, and so our communication it's a fairly one-way street. It's not something that I think that we excel at. But when I arrived at Pierce, which is now this will be my 10th summer, we chose our battles, and we do small things in different areas each year to keep improving on camp. And I think one of the things we can do is improve that communication, because the forms and the parent booklet and in reality, our last communication, and this is different for us than most camps, our last communication with parents is when they're dropping their kids off, right? So our parents are on site. They come in, and this is something where we might not, like our emails or I love the survey thing that Mark put out and asking them. And I was just going to post on Facebook to our page as well to get them to ask now what they want us to train on. But one of the greatest things for us, and one of the things that parents give us the most feedback on, is how we welcome them to camp. So right. We have if you've never been to Pierce Williams, which I would take the majority of listeners haven't, we have a 180-acre facility surrounded by farmland. So you're traveling through flat farmland in southwestern Ontario. Then all of a sudden you're getting close to Pierce Williams, and there's these big ravines, and you're driving down the highway, and then you turn into the lane, and halfway up the lane there's a sign welcoming you, but there's also one or two staff members there who literally stop you and greet you and say, "Welcome to Pierce Williams." Nice. Are you here for this camp? And they can. And then they direct them. They say, okay, well, if you just go straight ahead, there'll be a couple of people who are going to park you, and then Joe and Ika, one of them will meet you at your car. And so as the cars are parked, we have parkers we paint lines into our parking lot with a chalk liner, like a field liner, which was a tool of the week about a year ago. It's a great thing. So parents know where to park. And then, like Ika or I walk up with her clipboard, and we say, we greet them. We greet them and say, "Hey, what's up? Who are you dropping off? Hi, I'm Joe," and we introduce ourselves to the camper and to the parents. And then our theory is we want to get them in and out as quickly as possible, and have them feel like we know what we're doing, not have them feel like that we're unorganized or whatnot. So parents, and part of that wow part, and part of the wowing is, we say registrations at 7 p.m. on Sunday nights. In actuality, we are set to go at 6:15. So because parents arrive early, right? They want to drop their kids off. They want to get a good bunk assignment. They want to, all of those things. So literally at 6:15, when the first car rolls in, we're ready to take them, and we just push them through the line. And the first year we did it, it was so funny that one of the first nights we did it at 7:45, this car rolls in, and it's like the last camper. And like, okay, last camper's here. And the parents are looking around as they drive in, like side to side, and they get out and they say, "Where is everybody?" And I said, "Well, you're the last camper." And she's like, "We cannot be." I said, "Yeah, you are." And because for years previous, they would wait until 7, and then there'd be this big long line. Right. And we just we totally reversed that. And she was like, "I need to show up earlier next year now." So that is really and truly our last communication. We teach our camp staff how to talk to parents and how to greet the kids and answer questions. And we have leadership team members ready to talk to parents and to deal with, well, my son wanted to be in this cabin, and we didn't know this boy would be here. Can we be in the same cabin? All of those things that happen when you have parents on site. So that's sort of our last communication with parents.
That's a really great philosophy, Joe, that remembering that it's right up to, your communication with parents really never ceases, but to think about it as being such an important part of your training and your own expectations of your staff and your families, that this is a true partnership, and we're going to do everything we can to wow them and make their life easier on registration day. I know that Jack Schott and I, from Camping Coast to Coast, he and I have done a couple presentations at conferences this year about engineering what we call the Toyota camp, which is really just getting people at camp into the mindset of continuous improvement and doing things better all the time. And one of the things that we talked about over and over again is opening and closing day, or the start of camp, whether it's drop off at buses every day for day camps, or it is or it's that arrival at camp and how you can make that process go as smoothly as possible, and take out as many steps for parents. So it's neat to hear that you've got that nailed down, Joe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's funny because we'll have actually larger groups who rent us as well, because we are a year-round facility. So we have groups who rent us, and they'll start doing, the groups who have been here for a number of years, we actually pass on our knowledge of what works, right? To say, listen, if you're doing registration in the Longhouse, in reality, you need people to point where the Longhouse is, because it's not obvious to people where you're doing registration. So why don't you put someone at the sign, put them in the parking lot so that you can control, where people park. And it's just when we hosted we hosted a national camping conference here in 2008, and it floored the people when they walked in to see to be greeted like that. And I think it's really important, because if you get that right and you get departure day right for us, that takes a lot of stress off the families, because one of the most stressful times for families, be it here, be it at a camp that provides transportation, is when you're dropping the kid off, like at the bus and I've been at buses where they don't have a sign out to say we're this camp. And if you remember the old days at Yorkdale, where there'd be like 6 different camps picking up kids, how do you possibly not put a sign out to say, we're this camp,
Yeah. Yorkdale is one of the big malls in Toronto that's close to a major highway. So it was a very common place for camps to drop off or have their pickup for the buses. So, yeah, I can see that being just a massive buses and parents and kids with their luggage trying to figure out where everything goes.
It actually happened last year. One of our campers ended up on, fortunately, he got off in time, but somehow made his way onto another camp's bus.
Right.
I called the camp director. I said, and there's no check-in? So, again, redoing their check-in policy. Joe, you mentioned something interesting, was like that first impression, right? Like that's their first time that they're going to see, and that's, that wow experience. Give them something that they don't expect anymore. Like if they're so used to expecting this is how it's done, adding that extra little bit of personal touch just leaves them such a wow and starts the summer off right. I really like that.
Yep.
Yeah, it's been a huge thing for us, and slowly we've taken some other things out, because we used to actually take final payment on that night, on registration night.
Right.
And the problem we had with that is this theory that what I'm going to do is greet you, no matter how friendly I am with you, or somebody is with you, and then they say where to go, then I'm going to ask you for money.
Right.
Or then I'm going to say you didn't pay this or that. And so we've eliminated all of those things, and really want to make it so that parents leave with this impression that, wow, you guys got it going on.
Right.
And I can trust my kids there. So.
Right. Awesome. Cool.
Yeah, that is. Shoot, you made me think of something really cool. I don't know. I know that in terms of first impressions, one of the tricks that my wife Beth implemented when she was organizing our opening day registration is that person with the clipboard who's the first. So for us, they would come in and be greeted by somebody, partway down the lane before they parked, who would just sort of start to point you in the right direction, and they'd check in and some kids, and it would be our sort of double verification of who had arrived, because not all kids would have to go in. Most of them would have everything done and could go straight to their cabins. They wouldn't have to go into the mess of talk to the administrator, go to the nurse, all that. You want to make that as smooth as possible. One of the tricks that Beth implemented was whoever had that check-in clipboard to say, you're in this cabin, here are your counselors, was to make a note of how many summers that kid had been at camp already. So that when they stuck their head in the window, they could greet the kid and say, welcome back. It's so great you're here for your 7th summer. That's pretty amazing. Or, wow, it's your first time here. We're so grateful. This is my name. If you ever need any help, make sure you come to me. Just something to make those kids and parents perk up and say, they know who my kid is. My kid is not just a number in this, just one more little kid to go into Birch Bungalow. This is a real person with a real name and a real history. It's one of those things that parents notice. I was talking to a camp that that has longer sessions, so a month to 7 weeks, and the majority of their campers are 7-week campers, and they do something that was really neat. And I don't know if it would work for a shorter, 6-day session like Joe has, just in terms of getting it all done. But they would have 100 or less than 200 campers per summer, and in the first week they make calls to all of their new families and just let them know how their son's doing. And so check in with them. Just one little bit more personal touch. You're sending your kid away for a long-term camp experience, half the summer or almost the whole summer. And one way that they feel it's important to reach out to those parents and reassure them just before they even get nervous is to call them and say, your son's doing great. He's got a good friend already. And, he really loves sailing, or he really loves climbing. And just a bit of personal information to make them feel comfortable, get them settled in, and again, say, this place knows how to look after my kid.
We do that. We implemented that a few years ago because we had such a strong surge of new campers. So we call it the 24-hour phone call. So every camper, and every camper, new camper, gets a form. And, we check off everything from top bunk. Did he pass their swim badge? Does he know friends? What 4 or 5 activities have they done in that first day or two? And then a lot of times it's us, the directors, calling. But last year we brought in our section heads too. So, even one step closer to – and it was new for us because they're a bit younger and stuff. We want to see how the parents are ultimately going to want to talk to us specifically. But the feedback we got was, wow, it was really nice to hear from the actual, section head who's in charge of my kid. And the parents will always wait for those calls. And you get a lot of them. So we spread them out and we just make a phone tree, and that's what we do. And we bring in, coffee and donuts. And that first night from 7:30 or, 7:30 to 10 o'clock, all new families are going to get a phone call. And it's been a really nice personal touch. And what we do prior to the summer also, like now, we'll also print out a list and do the same thing of just reassuring the parents, hey, it's us. Just as a reminder, a phone call sometimes for the new families, bring them, they don't, some of them have no idea the process, the traditions that you do. Some of the returning families, they just come and they're fine. They just go with the flow. Some of them you don't even, they're like, they trust us. They no like and trust factors already there. But these other people, they're giving you your kid, and we say it's, I use the scenario. I always say it's, you're trusting us. The whole concept of camping is so foreign to me. Is when you're trusting us to take care of your kid. It's not like you're lending me your car.
Right.
And it's just so, when we make those phone calls, the parents, you can hear in their voice, like it doesn't even ring once, like. They're almost holding their phones, waiting for us to call. And then we say, if there's something else, if you want another check-in, then call or send us an email and give us time. And a lot of times, no one takes us up because they've already heard that one phone call from us and that personal touch, and it's really nice. It's been really helpful. Yeah. Yeah,
that's awesome. I bet they do really appreciate that.
Yeah, and because we've created a specific form where you take those 5 minutes with that kid and you say, what was your favorite thing of today? What was your highlight? And the thing also, Travis, is that we're open and upfront. So if the kid had a really rough day, I'm going to say to the parent, hey, it was a really difficult day, but we're working through it, right? I'm not sugarcoating it. Mm-hmm. So that's been really helpful too. I know the feedback that we got after we did it the first year was just tremendous, and parents were like, "Wow, that's a wow, right? Yeah. That's a real wow factor. It's something that they weren't expecting, really."
Yeah, awesome. It's great you've had such good feedback from it.
Yeah,
Joe, in an ideal world with much more time and a little bit more money, is there a way you would change the way you communicate with your parents before arrival day?
I think in an ideal world, we live in a pretty ideal world in my mind, and so I think that when we communicate with parents, a lot of it is just putting that thought process in. So over the years, we've done everything from introduce the concept of birthday cards and the Christmas card with with their cabin photo in it, which still surprises parents to this day, and surprises campers. And the birthday card, the idea that these campers believe that we get together and sign them for them, as opposed to the fact that we sign them at the end of camp. Those small things. And so I think this is just the next evolution of that, Travis, to really, in our mind, it's what is going to set us apart. And so I think that, the resources, like I think about the resources we have, and I think about Facebook and Twitter, and I think about our online forums and things where we can ask for that feedback and get them communicating. I think that all exists. It's a matter of how it's a matter of now using it and spending. A couple of weekends ago, I actually spent the weekend with Mark and 3 other camp director friends at our cottage on Lake Erie, and one of the things that we were talking about these websites that Mark uses to announce his staff hiring, who's coming back, and so they're websites like Fiverr and Odesk and Elance, just places where you can hire people to do things. And the concept of Fiverr really got me. And Mark said, you're going to waste a lot of time on this. And so the concept is that you can very much, I can pay somebody $5 to sing an original reggae song about camp.
Yeah.
And I can pay someone to do anything for $5 that can promote camp in a better way and post it to our Facebook page or post it on Twitter or just have it as a surprise for staff when they arrive. So things like that. I think, Travis, that I think what I need is more time. Right? I need more time to. There's so many other things at Pierce Williams that my focus has started to move a little bit away from summer camp, and more towards our overall the future of our facility, which summer camp plays the most integral part. But it's having more time to make these little things and to add that wow to stuff. So I think it exists, and I think the only thing I'm lacking is time.
Right.
But I can find that time by not watching as much TV or not, taking it from elsewhere.
Right.
That was Joe. That was why when we were at the cottage. That's why time we can never. If I could make more time, I'd be a very rich guy, right? Like, that's why I started using things like Elance or even Fiverr. Like, I could grab a guitar and sing my own song and video it and upload. But for $5, it's just outsourcing to people that my time is more valuable focusing on a different project or something. And the takeaway for that $5, I look at the value of $5, and the takeaway is just tremendous. When you post, we've been doing our head staff announcements, and I had literally a guy in Sri Lanka walk through a rainforest and dig a hole, and in it he found a box, and inside the box he opened it, and it had my camp logo on the back, and he read off my unit heads and announced
amazing
2014 unit heads.
Yeah,
it was $5.
That's awesome.
That is so awesome.
Right? So using a thing like Fiverr, if you go on and it's FIVERR .com, Fiverr.com, but doing those little things, like I think we're all camps, we're all in the same business, but it's creating those wow, and that's exactly what I talk about the new company that I'm launching, the Wow Momentum. In the book, it talks about these wow experiences of that we're all the same, so you have to do something that's different. You have to make those personal connections. You have to zig when everyone's zagging. You got to stand out. So it's those little things, even like Joe's little personal touch, and Travis, like you said, when Beth said, "Hey, welcome back. It's your 7th year." Wow, because it's easy to create an unwow experience and
right.
forget to make a phone call, or forget call a camper by the wrong name, or don't send out your parents' package on time. All those little things. Everyone's waiting for you to mess up, right? Yeah, but Fiverr, Elance, Odesk, those are outsourcing. Like Joe hit it right on the head. It's just time, especially now. Come April, May, when every camp director is going like, "What did I do in January?" We're like, "Where did that month go?"
Yeah.
Well,
Well, Mark, that is awesome. What a great story. Good thinking. Good thinking. So, Mark, the same question for you then. If you had way more time and a little more money, what would you do to push the communication with parents?
It's for us. It's consistency, right? It's we start planning, and then all of a sudden we're like, oh, we haven't sent out another newsletter. Time it's setting it down, setting those goals, and putting it in our calendar. I think we always have it, and then all of a sudden, another little camp, moment comes up. We've done all like things like the postcards and stuff, but I think I totally agree with Joe. Like the resources that we have now have never been better. I would just love to do more of it, right? If I had an extra, 5 hours in my day, but just being more consistent. I'd also love if I more money or more time. I'd love to do getting some of my staff more involved, so it's not always coming from head office.
Right.
The past couple of years we've done some certain things like, hey, I'm taking care of your kid. A little newsletter called "I'm taking care of your kid" that went specifically if you had a 7-year-old that was from the unit head to the. But coming up with other creative ways, maybe doing a video of it instead of so there's more of that human connection rather than getting a newsletter. Parents are going to go, oh, there's another newsletter. Something I would love to have those resources. I think would be cool to do.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Guys, these are awesome ideas. What a great shoot for both of you for sharing, and those that are listening and watching. I think that they'll be thrilled with this week's podcast and some of these things. Are there any final thoughts or things that you had prepared ahead of time that you want to make sure we share before we move on to our tool of the week?
We also, Travis, on top of like the surveys and stuff, everyone sends out like Joe said, like you send out your parents package, and for us it's kind of like also just health reminders, things to look for on your kids. So, hey, just a lice reminder, checking for like those health and safety tips.
Yeah.
We'll sometimes send out these quick little top 10 lists.
Right.
I'll ask a staff member to write a quick top 10 list. Just now, if we're able to do something once a week, staying top of mind, top 10 things on remembering to label, top 10 things why we label your kids' clothing, those funny little camp quirks.
Yeah.
We've done, top 10, camp phrases or camp lingo terms. What a dining hall is actually your kitchen table. So just even, we did for our international staff, and we also like a full camp, Tamarack lingo book.
Yep.
Because there's, you get some of these kids come up and you're saying, okay, guys, we're going to do a break for the program. And I had a guy last year who thought, he goes, oh, is it like tea time? He was from England.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, it's not break time. Like he thought, oh, he gets like 15 minutes off. I said, no, a break at camp is we're going to come up with a little skit to do,
right.
to announce what program it was. So coming up with a top 10 list, fun little top 10 things from the unit heads, top 10, favorite camp sayings, things to look forward to, like keeping top of mind now on a weekly basis. And why we do the top 10 things, because like I said, sometimes we don't have that time to write a full newsletter and go, like, oh, here we go, get another newsletter, a top 10 thing, top 5 things, just quick bites of information. Parents are inundated with email, so we like to get in and out, just another thing.
Yeah.
So
Smart.
that's kind of what we do. And health and safety stuff also, parents like to know. And I think that's what's key for us is that health and safety point, and if we keep pushing that forward. Or if they're if there's any talk from our medical team, if they're saying, hey, this is the new thing, H1N1 a couple of years ago, so here's things to look for, and all those kind of things that we do, just staying top of mind.
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Mark.
Yeah.
Joe, any last thoughts or any things that you've seen in the past that have worked that have worked for you, Pierce Williams, or any of your other camp jobs?
I would just, what I would say is that you can always do something better. I think once you get into that point where you believe you're at the pinnacle of your game or your experience, you're only fooling yourself, and so it's always looking for that one thing to do better. And I think that it's everything from how teaching the staff how to interact with parents and and surprising people. And this is the saying has always been, under promise, over deliver, right? So that if I say registration starts at 7, but at 6:15 you come and you can drop your kid off, that's great. And so it's this constant surprising. I never want to disappoint anybody, and that will go a long way with your camp and your camp parents. If you can just keep surprising them in a positive way, be it that little, that touch to that call home, or the letter home. When I was at the Taylor Staton camps, we would write a letter at the beginning of the month. I say we as a collective, we meaning the staff, would write a letter home to their campers just before the kids arrived, and then they would write a letter at the end of their stay as well. I remember there being a big rush on carbon paper because we wouldn't pay for the photocopying of those letters. But it's one of those things where those little touches can surprise parents and really mean something to them. And it's the same as, it's just always being there and always knowing that you can do something better, I think, is my only thought. There's lots of stuff that works in certain situations, but you'll have to find out for yourself.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I do it something, Joe, I always ask is, how can we get the parents to say wow? Like, what's going to surprise? Wow. Like, every time you say the word wow, I'm fascinated with the word wow. Like, you say it with, like, wow, like, you catch them off guard a little bit, and added value always. If we did this, how can we make it even, give them a bit more than they didn't expect and get them to say wow, right? So looking at your process, here's what we're doing now. Why do we do it this way? What else, like you said, what else can we make it better to get them to say that wow word?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a book, and I'll put it in the show notes because I don't remember the title, but I put it on my wish list just this week. They did some research about customer retention, and although wowing families is a good part of customer retention, they said one of the most effective things was to make it easier for them. The best way to make the best impression with them is to make their life easier. So anything you can do to simplify things, make it shorter, make it, simplify their life in any way, is the way that that you're going to get retention out of your customer service experience. And I want to leave that as the final thought on this. If you as a camp can think of any way to make the life of your parents easier, you're going to be a camp that leads. You're going to be a camp that sticks out because you have completely examined how everything works and made it as simple as possible for them. And that's going to be something that really sticks out for them. So thank you both for your awesome input. I've been sketching lots of ideas myself here. I'm sure that those who are listening or watching are doing the same because there have been some great ideas today. I want to, before we move on to our next section of the podcast, I want to take a minute and talk about Think Camp. Think Camp is a day and a half or 2-day unconference just for summer camp professionals, and it's very limited to registration. And it's an awesome experience where you as a participant help set the direction and the goals of the conference. So it's not organized ahead of time. They don't bring in speakers. Everybody comes to participate and to share. And I think you've heard Mark and Joe talk about their awesome experience where they had in a retreat with 3 other camp directors just sharing for a couple of days and what amazing ideas they got out of that. And that really is the essence of the Think Camp experience. And so those 2 days are based on what you need to learn, and then as camp leaders, we can facilitate those discussions based on what the group wants to learn. And really encourage you to check that out. Again, registration is limited to 50 people. It's going to be at Pierce Williams. Joe, can you let people know when the conference is going to be and how they can register?
Yeah, you can register for the conference by going to thinkcamp.ca. There you can read up all about what it is, how it's laid out. You can read the testimonials. We had around 22 people attend the first one in 2007, so we're tardy in getting the second one. But in this crowd, Mark, who's with us today, has attended Think Camp as well. It's going to be held November 11th, 12th, and 13th, which is a Tuesday night through a Thursday at lunch. So it is during the week. It's for summer camp professionals or people who are interested in speaking about camping. And so just to break it down a bit more, you're going to present a 10-minute or 30-minute session. So 10 minutes on a topic you're passionate about, and you share, and you have a chance to sit around with people afterwards and talk about their ideas and get more feedback as well. It's a very powerful thing. When you read through the testimonials, you'll see.
Awesome. So that's thinkcamp.ca, November 11 to 13. And spots are really limited, so make sure you get there fast. Thanks for that, Joe, and for being the one to take the reins and get Think Camp back up and running again. It's going to be an exciting conference this fall. At this point, then, it is time for us to move on to our Tool of the Week.
Tool of the Week.
Those of you watching the first time, our tool is something that each one of our panelists brings to the discussion that helps them become a better camp director. It's been a fun discussion today with lots of little tips and tricks and tools already. And I've already written down ideas of things to do with Fiverr, Mark. Thank you. But we've asked each panelist to come in with their own tool. And I'd like to start off today with Joe. What's your tool?
My tool this week is a Brino time-lapse camera. You can find it at brino.com. That's BRINNO.com. It is we're having lots of construction done at camp because we want, not because snow blew in a building or anything. We're tearing down some old barns. So these barns were built in the 1800s, and then in 5 days, we're going to have a crew come in and build a new barn. This is volunteer builders out of Toronto. And so I thought it would be really great to capture that on video in a time-lapse form. And so I found the Brino time-lapse camera. I've had it for about a month now, and the value is there's lots of different outdoor time-lapse cameras. I bought an outdoor case for this one. The great thing about this one is that you can see there's an LCD screen there's a screen on the back, so you can actually see where you're pointing the camera. Some of the outdoor time lapse, you just sort of have to set it and guess where you're pointing it. And this one's great. It has tons of options. I literally, while on the podcast, I upgraded the firmware for it, and now it's got things like you can set it to only take photos during certain times of the day, right? So then you don't get that 12 hours of darkness if you're so you could set it to take from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. and then start again at 6 a.m. It's a great little camera. Costs around $150 for the camera, $50 for the case, so I was in for around $200, and it's well worth it for what we're going to be doing. Nice.
That's awesome. Great tool, Joe. Thank you.
Love it. Joe, I'd love to see some of the footage when you're done.
Yeah, please.
That's a great point. We will. I have some footage from the Buckeye Leadership Workshop, and I will post that, and then I'll send a link through to Travis, and he can put it in the show notes because it'll show you how easy it is to do. It's literally a set it and forget it. The 4 gigabyte memory card that came with it lasted almost 12 hours before it was full. Right. But I've now put a 32 gig of memory card in it, and I think I'm going to be hard pressed to fill it. For my time. Yeah. And it runs on 4 AA batteries, and it lasts for they have some ridiculous amount. If you take one photo an hour, those 4 batteries will last you for like a month and a half, 2 months. So
wow.
That's
cool.
That'd be funny, Joe, to put it up in a sort of secluded spot and put it on for 1 photo an hour for the summer.
Yeah.
Like if you had an extra $200 and you could put one up there for the summer and just let it run.
If you have an extra $200,
right? Fair.
Our plan is like, we do chapels and the dining hall just to see the dining hall fill, and the dining hall empty will be really cool as well, right? Yep. It's there's a lot of possibility, and when we go to $200 isn't a ton of money, but for a small camp like ours, you need to make those decisions carefully, and we thought we can really use this summer. But I love the idea of just having one and leaving it on all summer, because you would see registrations happen.
Yep.
Yeah.
Be very cool. Very cool. Great tool.
I love that.
And Mark, you have an app for us.
Yeah. So the app, going back to kind of some of our staff announcements and stuff, I found this app that I've been using called Image Chef. So it's IMAGE Chef CHEF.
Yeah.
Image Chef. So what's great is that you can do just text stuff on it, and it's got all these it's on the iPhone. I don't know if it's Android, but it's also on online. You can just go to the web page. But what I love doing is you take a picture of anything, and there's these really fun different kind of presets little photos that you drop your actual photo in. So whether it's someone on a billboard, so your camp logo would look like it's on a big city billboard, or there's a street painter one where you literally just drop I could have a picture of Travis, and it would look like a street artist is painting Travis's face on. And there's another one where you just type in whatever your word is, and it looks like it's someone shaved it into the back of their head, and it's free. You save it to your phone, you upload it. Just a fun way another way of just communicate. It's all about the communication. It's saying the same thing but saying it differently. And when we sent some pictures out to some of our families, again they went, "Wow, that's really cool." Like, is there really a street painter painting your camp logo downtown? And I said, no. And there's a big concert backdrop. So doing it, I use it for my art stuff. I use it for other stuff, camp stuff. It's really there's the possibilities are endless on. So it's Image Chef. It's on the phone. It takes 2 seconds to do. So I actually announced. Yeah, I announced one yesterday. Was one of our staff from the UK, and the pictures of someone reading a book, and you can create the title of the book and the picture. So the picture, he sent me a really funny picture of himself, and I just announced, head of tennis, or head of ropes, Gary Butler, and it looks like someone is reading this book of head of ropes, Gary Butler, and it has his picture. So just kind of cool, fun ways of announcing rather than announcing Gary Butler, head of ropes.
Awesome.
So, Image Chef, big fan of it.
That's great. Well, that's one of the basic lessons of social media is that it's all very visual, and anything you can do. I started saying in my presentations now, if there's ever a moment where you're sitting down to write something in text to parents, think about a way that you could do it visually. Do it in video, do it in photos, anytime. It'll have way more impact. It's it's a great way to stand out. And I know from the CampHacker Instagram account, the images get lots of traction and lots of likes and things, but when it gets really good stuff is when we combine images and words on Instagram. Obviously, it's the same thing for anything effective on Pinterest as well. So that's a great tool, Mark, to thank you for that.
Yeah, you got it.
Right on. My tool is a website called unroll.me, UNROLL.me. And just because of my interest in marketing and trying to always think about ways we can apply business stuff to summer camp, I end up with way too many email newsletters that come into my box. And the inbox is also crowded with notifications from Facebook and all these different things. And sometimes I find, as I've checked, some days I've got 50 or 60 notifications from Facebook alone as emails. And I have gone in and trimmed that and changed it. And some of the things I do, like managing the Camp Pros group, equal a lot of emails to me in a day. And what unroll.me does is it'll scan your email box, find all the newsletters that are there, and then it'll allow you to decide if you want to keep the email coming directly to you, whether you want to roll it up into this daily email that you get from Unroll. So all of those emails come in one and you can just quick scan through them and open only the ones you want, or you can unsubscribe. And so I went through and unsubscribed to half of them. And then every day I get this what they call a rolled up email from unroll.me with all of the newsletters, notifications, etc. in that one email. So it doesn't come one at a time, trickle in through my email box. And in doing so, I realized that I keep unsubscribing to more and more newsletters because when they come in that rolled up thing, I look at them and think, this is of no value to me. I haven't looked or read at this in ages, so I unsubscribe. So it's been awesome for managing the deluge of emails that I get every day. And gives me a quick way to scan those things, get the information I need, and get out. And it's a free service. So it's at unroll.me if you want to check that out.
Like that. It's great.
Right on. So thank you very much to Mark and Joe for being on the show. I want to say that if you've appreciated anything any of the ideas that you've heard today, the tools of the week or the different parts of the discussion and ideas from that, I hope you'll go to camphacker.tv/iTunes and rate the podcast and write a little something as a review about it. We appreciate all of those people that listen, and it's helpful for us to know what we're doing right, or give a bit of social proof to other camp pros that the CampHacker podcast has been helpful to you. So if you've appreciated any of that, please go to camphacker.tv/iTunes. And that should take you just a couple of minutes. I want to make sure it's as easy as possible for you to remember if you're listening to this in the car or while you're walking the dog. Just camphacker.tv/iTunes, take you right there. Joe, I want to thank you for being on the show today. It's some great ideas.
Thanks very much. You can, if people want to follow me, they can look me up at campisbetter.com is our camp website for Pierce Williams, and everything else you can find me at yoyojoe.com, yoyojoe.com. And don't forget thinkcamp.ca.
Right on. Thanks, Joe. It's awesome. And Mark, where can people follow up with you, find stuff that you're doing, check out your new book, etc.?
Yeah. The website that's Wowmentum, so it's
nice.
WOWMENTUM.com.
Nice.
Wowmentum.com, and on that webpage, there's access to the book, and the book is available on Amazon. It's called Forgettable to Unforgettable, and it's a great resource. People can also send me an email. I can send them to directly. I have donating about 30 books to the Ontario Camps Association for the big conference coming up. I'll be speaking there, presenting some ideas. My art stuff, if you want some really nice art for your camp, it's markcooperart.com. I always post on Facebook and stuff. But Wowmentum is really kind of, that's the training and stuff. And there's lots of free downloads, fun downloads and stuff that you can print off and use for your camp staff too.
That's awesome. So if you are not able to see the show notes, it's Mark Cooper, MARC, cooperart.com, and wowmentum.com. Thanks, Mark. Yeah. It's been awesome having you on again.
Yeah, pleasure. Thank you so much.
Right on. So if you want to get all the stuff, you want to get to the show notes, find the links to our Tools of the Weeks, to Fiverr, or see past shows from CampHacker, there's two good ways to do that. Number one, of course, is go to camphacker.tv/podcast, and there you'll find the show notes from today and the links. If you want to be automatically notified when new shows come out and you're watching on YouTube, just click the subscribe button down below us. Click on like if there is something in here that stuck out to you and was really helpful. We really appreciate that. And the other thing is that you can download the audio for free by using the Stitcher app or, of course, on iTunes on any iOS devices. So thank you very much for watching, everybody. And thanks for the evening, friends.
The CampHacker podcast is brought to you by Beth and Travis Allison, summer camp leadership training and marketing consultants. Thanks for listening. CampHacker, bringing your world into focus.
Hey, it's Travis. Camp directors often tell me they're just too tired to take on anything new. That's exactly why my free Resilient Camp Blueprint Diagnostic exists. It doesn't add work, it shows you progress. Quick, free, repeatable, you'll know if your systems are paying off without the guesswork. Try it today at camp.mba/Travis. That's camp.mba/Travis.